Morning, everybody. Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. Welcome to our 300th video. We started this channel up a couple years ago. Didn't really think we'd have enough material to take and make it that far, but we do all this for you so you can get a little bit of knowledge about cars and find out what we're up here. We're going to start out today. We have a new project. This one right here is a 2002 Chevy S10. So welcome to this old S10 garage. We picked this one up on Facebook Marketplace. Sort of kind of a mechanic special. We were able to take and drive it home. It has a real hard engine miss. Okay. So it doesn't sound like any noise is coming from the lower end. The vehicle has approximately 186,000 miles on it. It's got the big giant 2.2 liter engine in it. So the most common one, they're relatively easy to work on. We've done quite a few of them. The green S10 and the white S10 both have 2.2 liters in them. So we probably got some parts laying around. First thing we did is we went around the outside and looked at it, and the body on this is really clean. So first thing we did is we cleaned it up a little bit. There was a mat in the bed here that was just shot. We went ahead and got rid of that. There were also a tonneau cover that was bolted along these rails here, and we got rid of that because that was kind of in bad shape. So there's no dents or dings in the body. The body is extremely clean. So we were really happy about that. No body work. Front bumper's not damaged. It's had some upgrades where they have different headlights and different turn signals in here, and that kind of makes it act a little bit odd when you take and put the turn signal on, because it flashes a lot quicker than it usually would, because the load for the LED bulbs is a lot lighter. Okay. You'll notice the inside, really, really clean. Okay. One thing that we did notice is it has an aftermarket radio in it. When you put an aftermarket radio in the S10s, it's always a problem because the network for the OBD goes through the radio, and you get error codes because you don't have a stock radio in here. It also has a nice pad on the dash. Okay, but the thing is, this radio here is way too big, for the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a stock radio and put it in here. And you'll notice on the S10s, from right here to here, there's usually a bar that separates the climate control from the radio, and that's been cut out. Okay, up here on top, there is also a hole in the right there. So we're going to have to take and replace this bezel. That's true on most of the ones we get, for some reason that people don't know how to take these things out. So we'll just go ahead and change that out. Those are readily available. Okay, this is our first manual transmission vehicle that we've ever had. Most of them were automatic. They use 4L50s in there, and this is a standard transmission. So let me take and give you a little bit of what we're working on right now. So we had the engine miss, so we went ahead and we ran the codes on the thing, and there was just a bunch of garbage codes in there. Usually when you have an engine missing, if it's electrical, you will have your misfire counter will just be going, okay, and there was nothing. Okay, so the running the codes on the thing did not really give us any useful information. Okay, and then so this would be good for people that are just starting out and they haven't got all the scanners and all that kind of stuff. You can still troubleshoot very effectively, and that's exactly what we did. The first thing we did is we wanted to make sure that all of the cylinders were firing. Okay, this is a timing light. Okay, mostly these days in the modern cars, the timing is controlled by the engine control module. There is no adjustment on it. As a matter of fact, there is no distributor on most of the newer cars, but you hook this up to the battery, and then this is an inductor pickup that you put over the plug wire, and then there's a light that comes out of here and it flashes in relation to the spark plug firing. Okay, so we went ahead and we put the timing light on there, and we determined that all 4 cylinders were actually firing. Okay. Next thing we did is we checked the spark plugs, and the spark plugs were all good. They had been used, but they were okay. Since we had the spark plugs out, next thing we did is we did a compression test. Okay, this is results of the compression test. On cylinder 1, we had 100 pounds or 120 pounds. Okay, on cylinder 2, we had 0. Okay, on cylinder 3 we had 110. On cylinder 4 we had 120. Okay, so that tells the whole story right there. It's probably a burnt valve. Okay, but nonetheless the cylinder head has got to come off. Okay, so that's actually what we started doing here yesterday. We started tearing down the engine to get the cylinder head off. This cylinder head has been replaced before, because the thing is, it is so much cleaner than the rest of the engine, and a lot of the bolts were loose on it. So whoever did this job, well, you know, their quality of work maybe wasn't that great. Hardly anything was torqued. So I noticed that the head bolts were really tight. Okay, I think they were over spec. So we're going to have to take a look at the block and see if there's any thread damage, or we'll probably replace all the head bolts. Okay, make sure they weren't stretched. Okay, but one thing we wanted to take a look at, okay, we removed all the rockers, because you have to take the rockers off to get the head bolts out, because they won't clear, they won't go past the rockers. So we left the 2 rockers on here for cylinder number 2, because we wanted to take and check the cam action and see if everything was going okay. So let's go ahead and check the cam action. Okay, so we went ahead and checked the valve action. Everything looks okay. So we have about 10 bolts left in here to take and get the cylinder head off. And then what I'll do is I'll do a short, and we can look at the bottom of the cylinder head. There's probably one of the valves has a big hole in it. Okay. But anyway, if you take and if you get a rebuilt cylinder head, it'll cost you about $425. If you go to a junkyard and get one, you'll have to pull it yourself, and it's going to be an unknown quantity. Okay, so you might wind up with the same problem that you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this cylinder head off and we're going to send it over to our machine shop and then have them fly cut the thing flat. And then we're going to have them grind the valves on it and do new valve stem seals and all that. So, and that's going to be about $300. Okay. One last thing that we're working on here is we noticed that this is the ABS control module here. We are getting an ABS light. When we went in with the code scanner, we took and saw that it says ABS relay inoperative, okay, and it's generally this module here. This module right here, which is separate from the actual hydraulic body, this one has been replaced already because it has writing all over it. It says LQK, which is the local boneyard. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a new module and put it in here. Okay, and that'll take care of that. The only other thing that we have to take a look, well, there's two other things that we have to look at. The left rear wheel sensor is intermittent, okay, which probably means it's full of stuff. So we'll just go ahead and replace that. It's about $30. And also the very last thing is I'm getting a seatbelt system malfunction, okay, that is in the driver's seat. So there's a retractor that is right inside here that we have to check that when you're involved in a collision, there's an airbag in the steering wheel, okay. There's also an airbag right over here, and there is a sensor in the seatbelt buckle that tells you that the seatbelt is latched. So we have to make sure that is actually closing when we take and put the seatbelt in there. If you don't find anything there, then we're going to take and look at the charge, this unlocking mechanism, and see whether that's open. If it turns out that after test it is actually open, we're going to have to replace the seatbelt retractor. So anyway, that's all that's going on, and that's what we are doing right now. So for the rest of the day, or next couple of hours, we're going to be pulling the cylinder head off of this guy and get it to the machine shop. One thing we did notice is there is an air box. The throttle body sits right here, and it's laying over here on the side. And there's part of the induction system. There's like a big box in the S10 that's right here, and it kind of curves around and goes over to the air filter container. There are some fingers that go over the end of the throttle body, and those are broken. Okay, so we're going to have to get another one of those because that's going to be an air leak. That will take and give you a map sensor error, okay, because the airflow will be wrong. There'll be a mismatch between what the computer says and what the intake says. Okay. But anyway, the way we work here is generally while we're waiting for the cylinder head to come back from the machine shop, we will take and work the other problems and get parts ordered. So we'll need the resonator box that goes on here, and we'll also need an ABS module. So we'll go ahead and get those on order, and they'll probably be in about a week, 10 days or so. And then by the time we're ready to go back together, we will be ready to go back together, and we will have a functioning vehicle. Okay, thank you so much for watching all my videos. This being video number 300, really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to take and see what we're up here. Hopefully I've given you some great information, save you some time, and none of the repairs we do are really over the top. When we were doing the 2019 Honda, we put a whole quarter panel and frame on that one, so that was kind of wild. Okay, but yeah, most of the stuff you guys can take and do yourself. I encourage you to take and go ahead and try and do it yourself. Okay, it's a good way to take and start getting your toolkit together and everything. Start out with a basic wrench set and a socket set. Get your screwdrivers, and there are very few specialty tools like pullers and stuff like that you'll need to take and do other things on here. But I wish you good luck on all your projects. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.